Talking trade and Thursday Night Football on FFT Express. And welcome, everybody. It's Adam and Jamie here. So we just did a trade show, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently here. We're going to look at the most traded players in CBS Sports Leagues and get Jamie's thoughts on their value. Are they buys? Are they sells? What do we do here? And want to guess who number one is? I'll give you a hint. Number one and number three are running backs on the same team.
Most traded players.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins.
49ers.
49ers.
Jordan Mason is number one, and Christian McCaffrey is number three right now. We see that McCaffrey unlikely to play in week 2. So your thoughts on the values for those guys?
I don't know how many McCaffrey managers after 1 week are going to be willing to trade him. But after 2 weeks and you're desperate, you're 0-2, and you could still get a pretty good return, you might see that happen. So should people be trying to buy low on Christian McCaffrey? Absolutely. Should, on the flip side, people be trying to sell high because this could be a multiple week injury and you're still getting hopefully great value in return? Sure. You should be exploring those trades as well. So it makes a ton of sense. If I won in week 1 with McCaffrey, there's no way I'm trading him. If I lost and I'm in trouble, then yeah, you might have to consider it.
Would you rather have Bijan Robinson or Christian McCaffrey?
Today, Bijan Robinson.
Would you rather have Justin Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey?
Today, Justin Jefferson.
I think the no guts, no glory swing is to trade Jefferson for McCaffrey, if you could do it.
Just because, I mean, Jefferson's a good sell high candidate. Like, is Darnold going to do that consistently?
Yeah, I mean, like Jefferson, I don't think you should be discouraged or anything like that. Obviously, it's a good start, had the touchdown. But I feel like if McCaffrey comes back in week 3, he crushes Jefferson.
Agree.
You have to consider the risk of re-injury, though. Achilles tendonitis, Kyle Shanahan talking about it. It could pop up, it could flare up, that kind of stuff. So it's risky. I don't want to minimize that. Number 2 on the list is Jamar Chase. Buy low or kind of nervous about Chase?
Oh, I'd buy low for sure. I mean, at some point, does he have a minor injury and decides to sit out because he's concerned about his contract? That's certainly on the table. Joe Burrow, is he 100% healthy? That's certainly on the table. But, what, in terms of just his play and expected performance, has anything changed? Like, we still expect him to be one of the best receivers in football, right? So,
unless you're worried about Joe Burrow's wrist.
No, not any more so than I was when I drafted Chase.
4 and 5 on the most traded list are Terry McLaurin and Travis Kelce.
2 buy low candidates. McLaurin hopefully will start to step up as the number 1 receiver for the Commanders and be a go-to guy for Jane Daniels. And Kelce still has plenty of value. I mean, even though he was disappointing in week 1, that's not going to be the norm consistently. But, this is a different conversation from what we were telling you to draft him, which he was too high. But I'm still hopeful.
I see crazy trades go down all the time, but you wouldn't hesitate to trade Isaiah Likely for Kelce, would you?
Oh, no. In a heartbeat, I'd do that. Would
you trade Isaiah Likely for Terry McLaurin?
If I needed a receiver, yes. Look, we may have seen the best of Isaiah Likely. We may see the only good game that he's productive. There's a lot of uncertainty there. So I would have no problem flipping Isaiah Likely for one of those receivers. I would aim higher. Yeah. Hopefully you do better than Terry McLaurin, but that's about the floor. Top 30 receiver.
One more guy is number 6 on the list is DeAndre Swift. What do you think about Swift?
I don't think he's a bad buy low candidate. They played a really good defense. The Titans are going to, I think, surprise a lot of people. Secondary was extremely improved, and their 2 tackles are amazing. Plus, they got Ernest Jones. So to run against them was going to be challenging. I didn't like the matchup. I don't like the matchup for him this week either. Look what the Texans just did to Jonathan Taylor. Held him to 16 carries for 48 yards. Got lucky, he scored a touchdown. No work in the passing game. So 10 carries for 30 yards for Swift in week 1. Half those carries went for 1 yard or less. Not pretty.
Wow. Yeah, no, it was a tough start to the season with the schedule for DeAndre Swift. All right, we're going to take a break on FFT Express, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Bills and the Dolphins and tell you who to start and who to sit, what to do with those running backs. We'll be right back. So, Jamie, this is definitely going to be a tough situation for fantasy managers right now. We are hoping that Achane and Mostert, one or both of them, practice on Wednesday, but through Monday and Tuesday, they have not practiced. So as they get ready for the Bills on Thursday, what do you think we should be, how should we be feeling about the Dolphins' backfield?
I hope that we get an answer Wednesday night as opposed to waiting for inactives on Thursday. If Achane and Mostert are active, you're starting Achane. Mostert is at least a flex. If one of the other two is out, the other guy becomes an immediate must-start guy, which means mostly Mostert becomes a must-start guy. Clearly, Achane's a must-start guy already. If one of them is out, then I think Jeff Wilson comes into play as a flex, and I would be a little bit hesitant about Jaylen Wright, but I'd want to pick up Wright to stash him just in case one of those injuries is long-term. If both are out, then Jaylen Wright and Jeff Wilson become potential starters in almost every league, with Wilson, again, a little bit safer of the two, just because you assume he's going to get the majority of touches.
And then people might be saying, well, Jaylen Wright was inactive and Jeff Wilson is obviously ahead of him. Why are you preferring Jaylen Wright? What would your answer be?
I didn't say I would prefer Jaylen Wright. I would want to stash Jaylen Wright just in the circumstance that one of those injuries is long-term. Because if Jaylen Wright gets on the field and gets the chance to showcase himself, he should do better than Jeff Wilson. Wilson is just one of these guys, and we see it all across the league. He does the right things, but he's just not explosive. So he'll have games where he scores touchdowns. He'll have games where he has 3 or 4 catches. He'll have games where he's a good fantasy option. But Jaylen Wright's a difference maker if he hits. And that's the question. Can he hit?
Well, it's not baseball, Jamey, but we'll see,
Can he run?
Can he run?
Can he catch? Can he score?
Can he catch? Jalen Waddle, not a lot of targets, good production last week. Any hesitation against the Bills?
None. Game's expected to be high scoring. He's at home. When he's healthy, you play him. Run game could be a little stagnant. No issues.
And I would think he gets a boost if Achane doesn't play. Achane had 7 catches. So Tua then, somewhat of a tough call. What do you think about Tua this week?
Low end number 1 quarterback. So I would prefer Baker Mayfield. I'd prefer Jared Goff. I prefer Jaden Daniels. I would start him over Purdy. I'd start him over Stafford. I'd start him over Caleb Williams. Not that that's a surprise. I'd start him over Burrow.
You'd start him over Joe Burrow. Okay. And anything
the quarterbacks that outscored Joe Burrow this week? Week 1?
Oh,
Caleb Williams. Kirk Cousins. Will Levis. And here's the best one. Tyrod Taylor.
No, jeez. Oh, man. Yeah, Burrow was so bad. And probably my most rostered quarterback. And Caleb Williams. They're my 2 most rostered.
You had a rough week, yes.
I got so lucky.
And Purdy.
I only have him in 1 or 2 leagues, but
that was your combo. Williams, Purdy.
Williams, Purdy. Yeah. I feel good about Purdy. I went 7-4, so I got lucky. Nice. I got super lucky. So I really didn't have that good of a week. Could have been much different. Final thoughts on the Bills receivers. We'll end with that.
Yeah, flex is at best. Shakir is my preferred option, followed closely behind by Keon Coleman. No interest in Curtis Samuel. I think for Shakir and Coleman, you'll see probably a little bit of an uptick in targets if this game gets a little loose. I'd like to see one guy step forward. Shakir killed the Dolphins last time they met in the regular season, week 18. So if that carries over as well, that was a game Gabe Davis got hurt early in the game, and he just took off. So I like Coleman for the highest ceiling. I like Shakir for the highest floor, but Shakir's ceiling is not that low.
That's Jamey Eisenberg. I'm Adam Aizer. This is FFT Express. Talk to you tomorrow, everybody.